Well, hello, Sarah. How are you?
How are you, my man?
Doing great, thank you. So good to see you on here. We're so honored to have you on. And oh, what a
Mm.
movie! And I was just thinking about the movies that I grew up watching in the '80s, of course, Stallone. But just being in having there are a lot of movies that are not fun to work on. This one, I imagine, was pretty fun to work on, right?
For the most part, but it was about 100 degrees and 100% humidity and a lot of gear and a lot of hydration. But yes, other than that, and rock and roll and in a short period of time, it was a blast. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a particular memory that stands out to you where you're just looking around going, "Oh, this is cool. I get paid for this," even though it was 100 degrees?
There's always a moment like that on every movie, I feel like. But I think moments that stand out to me are like when Sly and I both noticed like that there's like a shot that could be like, what if we did, because we're both looking at it the same way, and, Kale, our DP, is fantastic, and we're all thinking the same thing. Like, that with the part of the bridge there, with this in the back and this wide, would be awesome. And like that kind of stuff at my age, I guess, is more like awesome to me than being like, yeah, I got tased. You know what I mean? So like the broad picture of it, the broad spectrum of it is more fun to me. Oh wait, I was doing EPK and talking about some sort of explosion, and they were blowing up the truck in the background, perchance, and I was just like, we were like, and went boom, and I was like, there you go. I hope they okay. That was fun.
Yeah, and it's got to be so cool because of course you're a kid and your parents are actors, right? And they've
They
you
were,
you
yeah.
grew up in the world and you grew up doing so many of these things, but get to be able to do it and do it this long is a true blessing, right?
I, I feel fortunate every day. I mean, my parents didn't really want me to act. They were theater actors, so I kind of broke in more in the film side, and they were like, "What?" And I was like, I wanted to be a geneticist, and it's deviated this way, but I'm working and I'm learning, and so they what could they say? So yeah, I'm blessed that I got to especially learn on every set every time because I'm always looking out about everything.
Yeah. Well, and of course, people have been looking up to what you've been doing now for years and think I want to do this, but just make it look a little easy. So what kind of advice do you give to people that want to follow in your footsteps?
Um, Fall into it. Um, you know, it's hard because I didn't go to some conservatory or anything. So, but just keep your eyes open. And if this is what you want to do, um, make sure it's what the only thing that you want to do, and not that you don't have a fallback. But if you feel like you have a fallback, I've said this to people before, like then it's a problem. Which and it's more difficult these days now. So you might you need one, but I would say follow your guts and just always keep your eyes open. You don't always have to pick everybody's brain. Just watch everything that's going on in all aspects and be aware of the camera and the actors and don't pick one particular thing if you want to do film and just and talk to the people who want to talk to you because they do, and we need more interaction with each other, and the crew loves that, and I love the crew.
Yeah, I love that. My co-host is Drew Pearson, one of our great Dallas Cowboys, caught the Hail Mary, won the
Yeah,
Hall
yeah,
of Fame.
yeah.
And so, yeah. So, of course, he wanted me to make sure I asked you your Hail Mary moment, which is that moment in your life or career where you had to go for it and it worked out for you. What do you suppose that was for you?
Oof.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I feel like there's always a Hail Mary. It could be right now, I mean,
it's true.
I'm throwing, Hail Marys there's always that moment in life or in a career, if you're fortunate enough to work that as I have, and it's always up and down. The Hail Mary is, to me, is trusting that even if you tested or you whatever, and you went through like a year of almost getting there and crapping the bed, finding that other gear to be like, okay, that's history. I learned from it, but I what happened 5 minutes ago has no bearing on the next thing. And you always throw in a Hail Mary in every audition, and that I mean I know that's kind of a whatever answer, but that's the truth.
No.
And knowing that a check will come in the mailbox and pay your rent, but it's all about trust. So
Yeah. Well, that's true. Well, and I love your outlook too. And we talk about that success mindset on the show that you have to have, whether or not you're feeling it or not, because as creative types, we're hard on ourselves. So, what do you tell yourself to keep you on the right path always?
the hardest part is not beating yourself up. I mean, I have two kids, and I'm ready, and I see it all the time, and I don't want to, but it's hard. But you can't. It's the balance of brushing something off your shoulder, which kids can do. Some
Mhm.
can do very well, and some cannot. And I'm not talking about mine specifically, but in general. But but having the ability to know what's past isn't your present, and success is what happens 2 minutes from now. It's just about shifting, and I feel like that's what I always want to teach people, that you can shift, but you got to experience your experience, whether you're grieving, whether you're whatever, you lost an audition, or you screwed something up, or if you dropped the pass, whatever it is, and that's okay. But you got to feel it. You can't gloss over it, and you got to experience your experience first in order to shift. Like if it's crying, whatever that is, until you get to that moment, because then you shift, and then all of a sudden you're sourcing success
Hmm. Yeah, well said. You've had the great fortune and great choices that you made, where you could look at your filmography or the things that you've done on TV, and there's so many recognizable things. What do people most often come up to you and go want to talk to you about?
I don't know. It depends. Like when I was doing Ray Donovan, when you're on a TV show, people always come up to you and talk about it, the TV show you're on usually, and people are very fond of that character. So there's
Mhm.
that. But I talked to a lot of people who always go back to Romeo and Juliet, and then there's people that are like The Thin Red Line was my favorite movie, but my
Yeah,
favorite is like when people randomly stop me in the street and they're like, "Yo, White Boys was my jam." You know what I mean? Like those are the gems,
yeah.
right? It's like journeyman, like the ones that you don't think anybody's seen. Like that makes me smile, and that makes me, because we all want to feel seen, we all want to feel visible, and you get isolated over time, and you think that it's going to be a certain way, and you go out and somebody goes, "Hey," and that's why I appreciate you guys. Like any of this, anybody who's a fan, I don't think that way about like these things. I go like, "Oh, people actually like my work," and that it's not being overly humble. It's my personality. And so
Yeah.
it's nice to know that people are like, that thing that you did really affected me. And I'm like, thank you, because I have so much else going on in my life, and I'm trying to make costumes for my children,
Yes.
and that really keeps you going. And
Yeah.
that human connection and respect and admiration for what people do, and I have it for everybody. And so thanks
Mhm.
for, having me, because
Yeah. I love that. Hey, yeah. Well, last thing then, of course, you're always doing something interesting. I can't wait to see what you got next for us because this one was so much fun. What are we going to see next from you?
I finally believe I got a launch date for this Peacock show, Sony Peacock, called Long Bright River, with Amanda Seyfried. I play her partner. It's about like Philly. It's like a Philly murder mystery about family, about her sister who's like a junkie, and she's trying to find her, and it's like it's a limited series, but that comes out on
Hmm.
13th, she said. I found
Good.
yesterday, but it's fun. It's a fun one. definitely.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for making this one because we always love a good, good action flick, and look forward to
Awesome.
talking to you
But
again.
it's hard to make a good action flick and have a little
Yeah,
bit underneath that, and I think that there's some humanity in this one
there is.
that that does something for people. Yeah. So thank you,
Yeah.
Paul.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Appreciate you.
Let's do a
Okay.
good part.